Very grateful, very privileged to be here. That word privilege, it's often used to shame people, isn't it? Generally conservative. Almost a way of punishing anyone the left don't believe have suffered enough in the ways they think matter. But when it comes to privilege, the spotlight really needs to be turned back on them. Most aren't even aware that they are. I wrote about this today in my first column back in the News Limited papers. Have a read. There will come a time in the not too distant future when this country will need to decide who it is and what it stands for. Right now, it doesn't matter so much, does it? You know, in the big scheme of things. You can stop selling Aussie flags, you can fight for division, openly share your disdain for Australia, and then carry on with your day. You see, the beauty of living in a country like ours is that you can literally hate it loudly and proudly, and it will make absolutely no difference to the privileged, there's that word again, and blessed existence that you lead. The problem, though, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, is that things may change much sooner than you think. Rewind 6 months and experts were waxing lyrical about being on the brink of World War III. Even before then, our Prime Minister warned that we are facing the most dangerous strategic circumstances in 80 years. Has the world settled since then? No, of course not. It's gotten a whole hell of a lot worse. War has broken out in the Middle East off the back of the horrific October 7 attacks by Hamas. And it was never going to be just contained to Gaza. Those who see our way of life as a threat are using this conflict as an excuse to wage broader war on the West. The Houthi rebels have been salivating at the prospect of attacking Israel and America, and attack they have, the impacts of which have reverberated well beyond just those two countries. Another reminder to those who need it, I don't think many of you watching now, that when you heavily rely on other countries for your manufacturing, your food, your fuel, then you are at the mercy of any disruption to the major shipping passages. Who would have thought? How much fuel do we have again here? Less than a month's worth? Seriously. The war in Europe has not slowed down despite the often fickle nature of global media coverage. Not only is Russia still killing innocent Ukrainians, but additionally, a plot by Vladimir Putin to directly involve the West allegedly leaked this week. And what about China? We need not worry, according to their ambassador. All will be well for Australia if we just do as we are told. He was laughing and joking with local reporters at a press conference this week too. All is well, or is it? And don't get me wrong, we want a very good relationship with China, of course, but can we trust them? Taiwan emerged this week as a country which demonstrably, as a collective whole, cares more about its sovereignty than its safety. Now think about that statement. Let me say it again. They care more for their sovereignty than their safety. A country, unlike Australia, that has had to grapple with an imminent threat and test whether it should just take the easy way out. And yes, I use the word easy begrudgingly. China's intentions regarding Taiwan are no secret, and every single person who voted last weekend understood what their choice at the ballot box meant. Against this backdrop, and with great bravery, in my opinion, exercised their judgment and their vote in favour of the incumbent. A party, the Democratic Progressive Party, a new president, Lai Ching-te, who boldly reject China's claim to Taiwan. China asserts it will take Taiwan by force if needed, and they will need to under Lai Ching-te's leadership. How courageous is a nation to value itself with such integrity that it chooses democratic independence over authoritarian subservience at any cost? To do that, you must love and respect your nation and what it stands for. You must care deeply about it, almost more than your individual self. You must be willing to die for it. That's no mean feat. There are plenty of Australians who feel this way about our country. Every serving member of our Defence Force, for example, and many, many more. However, there is a growing cohort who reject what we stand for, and their existence and influence threaten our national cohesion. It's not just the young, mind you, they make up a fair share of it. Plenty of them aren't even aware that they fall into this category, such as the sophistication sometimes of those pushing this trend. It's those who often only think, they believe that freedom and democracy aren't necessarily the way forward. Who cherry pick their agenda to suit the narrative, don't they just? Raging feminists, tick. Except for Israeli women, tick. Now, this is all good and well for a nation that hasn't recently had to collectively decide who it is and what it stands for. But very soon, we may not have the luxury of choice. Very soon, the privilege of actively trying to destroy the fundamental things Australia stands for may be taken away. And won't that be the real test of how strongly they believe in what they advocate?